Oops. Welcome to the third installment of my Changing My Life in 3 Months series, and also welcome to the third month of 2024. It honestly feels like this year is just flying by already. I always feel like this around kind of March time. It feels good though, like the days are getting longer, spring feels like it's springing, like it's finally, the mood is lifting. Like I am feeling so much better than I was like a month ago, and really that's all we can ask for. And on the subject of feeling good, feeling positive, all the good energy and good vibes, I want to introduce today's topic, which is gratitude. I just want to have like a little sit down conversation today because I feel like gratitude is something that's really important, but I really don't think we discuss it as often as we should because it's such a small thing, but it can come into your life so often. So today I just want to talk to you for a bit about what gratitude is, why it's important, why I personally believe that it is essential to just happiness and being a happy person all around. And at the end of this video, then I will give you 6 different ways that you can practice gratitude. So first, let's just clarify what gratitude is. Gratitude is essentially a feeling of thankfulness or appreciation towards anything, like a person, a thing, a scenario, a place. It can be towards anything at all. So for example, you may feel gratitude if someone holds the door open for you when your hands are full and you wouldn't have been able to open it. Or you may feel gratitude if you get a really big job promotion. It can really be a wide range of scenarios that give you a sense of gratitude or thankfulness or appreciation. So gratitude has essentially always been a thing. There is kind of more of a movement these days towards like gratitude journals and sort of more that sort of thing. But gratitude has always been a thing, and that's especially evident if you look into religion, which gratitude is not a religious thing, but it is heavily prevalent in a lot of religions. So for example, saying grace before a meal, like everyone just giving thanks for the meal that they're about to receive, that is showing gratitude. So it's always been a thing that has been within society, but recently society's relationship with gratitude has changed. I want to just tell you about a study by Passmore and Oades. I'm not fully sure if I said that second one right, but in 2016, they were looking into how expectations in society has changed. And previously, we used to consider things like health and possessions to be blessings. So people would go in to their daily life and people would have the mindset of, I am not entitled to like health or possessions, and they wouldn't expect to have them. People would expect to like get sick or have things happen, like maybe like they get hurt in situations, or they would expect to not have as many possessions. And now in modern Western society, the difference in expectations has changed. So now we expect to have things like our health and possessions and that kind of thing. And this change in expectation means we no longer think of those things as blessings. So previously, where we would have given thanks for the fact that our bodies are healthy, for the fact that we have gained a new possession or something like that, now in previous times that would have been something that we give gratitude for, that we feel thankful for, because that's not something we expected to have. But now we have the expectation, we're like, well, I should have my health, I should have these possessions. So now instead of feeling gratitude when we have them, we don't feel that, and instead when we don't have them, then we feel more resentment, anger, bitterness, maybe bad feelings towards people who do have them because we think that we should have them. But yeah, I just found that yesterday and I thought that that was an interesting little study into kind of the relationship between gratitude and expectations and how it's just changed over the years, because gratitude has always been a thing, but it has definitely become different in the way that it is presented, in the things that we give thanks for, and also just the frequency that we give thanks. I personally think that consumerism has had quite a big impact on this. I think because we so often see so many people who have so much or so much more than us is what has led to us having the expectation that we should also have things. So that's one reason that I think that gratitude is very important, because it does impact our society. We as a society are different to how we used to be because of the way that we now do or do not give gratitude and give thanks. And you may think that it's not a big thing, but when everybody is subconsciously or consciously giving gratitude in a different way or in different frequencies, it does affect how they act when they go out of the house, how they interact with other people, and I think it has a much bigger effect than we actually typically realise. So I'm going to bring up another study now, And this is another reason why I think that gratitude is a very important thing, because it has so many different affiliations with different things in life, so different links. So Craig and Shevans, I think I'm so unsure of these names. Let's call them Craig and Shevans in 2021 found that gratitude had a positive affiliation with life satisfaction, extroversion, and forgiveness. So what that essentially means is that people who were higher in gratitude were more likely to be more extroverted, have higher life satisfaction, so essentially be happier, and were more likely to forgive, which that is a whole other conversation, how forgiveness can change your life and just impact so many different things. Perhaps we'll do a video on that in the future, I don't know, but that was something I found interesting. But not only does it have positive affiliations, so higher levels of gratitude making higher levels of other things, it also had negative affiliations, which in this situation, it doesn't mean these are bad things. Negative just means going down. So they also found that gratitude had a negative affiliation with substance abuse and neuroticism, which means that people were less likely to be neurotic or to abuse substances when they gave gratitude. And on top of that, they did find that people who were more grateful and practiced gratitude more often and were just grateful of things around them and gave a lot of thanks and appreciation had lower levels of anxiety and depression, which, as we know, is a very common issue, especially within today's society. So those are a couple of reasons why I personally think that gratitude is a very important thing. I think it's important to society around us because how we feel affects how we go out into the world. And of course, I think it's important to us as individuals. I mean, if there's something we can do that will lower our rate of anxiety, depression, or our chances of turning to substance abuse and will bring us greater life satisfaction, why would we not engage with it? So those are reasons why I think it is important. And now I just want to discuss why I believe that gratitude is essential to happiness. So I don't believe that being grateful will mean that you are never sad or that you never experience any negative emotions, but I do think that being someone who gives a lot of gratitude and thanks and appreciation for things around you will lead to you becoming a happier person. Whether that means that you're starting off as someone who is very unhappy and you become like more kind of level, or someone who is typically happy and you become like enlightened, like so happy. I would not promise any results, but I do think that it can have such a profound effect on a person's feelings. And one reason that I think that is the case is because gratitude changes your perspective and your outlook on life. In today's world, it is so easy to be caught up in everything that's going on, to open your phone, open social media, see like all of the stuff that is happening in this world, to turn on the news, see everything, to go out, to see people fight in the streets. I don't know how common that is, but I've seen that a few times. Just, there's so much negative stuff that we can see in the world, and there is so much negative stuff that is going on. And I'm not saying that we need to ignore that or that ignorance is bliss and we need to just completely act like it's not happening. But what I am saying is that it is so easy to just consume all of that stimulus around you and let it really bring you down. If you are just constantly taking in negativity, like everywhere you look, there's negative stimuluses, your faith in humanity is just being like lowered and robbed every day. If that's your life, it is so easy to take all of that on, internalize it, and become quite a negative person. If you are taking in all of this stuff, you are waking up, you're opening your phone, you're seeing all the negative stuff, you're looking at the news, you see all of the bad things that are happening, you hear something bad that's happened to one of your friends, and then maybe you spill milk all over your counter and like step on your cat's paw and they scream, and all of this stuff goes on. And you just take it all on and you just think like everything's so negative, and all these things just affirm to yourself that bad stuff is always happening, everything's negative. If you then go out into the world, and when I say into the world, I just mean like go to school, go to work, like step out of your house, go to the corner shop. When you go out, your mind is going to subconsciously be looking for more negative things. And also, the inverse of this is true. If you're somebody who goes around your day and you notice every positive thing, like you go around and you're like, wow, look at that tree, that's such a nice tree, I'm so happy that I get to breathe in air every day, that my lungs work, so grateful that I have a roof over my head, I'm so grateful that I got to have a drink of water this morning and it was clean. If you go out into the world with that mindset, then you're going to have a completely different day to the person who went out thinking everything's bad, everything's against me, there is no way to be happy in this world, because you're going to be focusing on the positive things. And I'm not saying that you need to only focus on positive things and ignore any bad things. It's about finding a balance. It's about allowing yourself recognize and acknowledge that there are good things in this world and that they deserve your thanks and your appreciation, and that yes, there are also awful things in this world, but that doesn't mean that the whole world is bad and that life sucks and that everything is against you. It just means there's bad things and there is also good things, and it is up to you what you show appreciation for, and that will change the way that you think and the way you feel, and ultimately your levels of happiness. Another reason that I think that gratitude is essential for happiness is because it changes your perspective. It changes the energy that you have. You can tell from somebody's energy whether they are someone who gives a lot of thanks, is very grateful, is very happy, whether they're a high energy person, or you can tell if that person is negative, kind of blames things on the world a lot, kind of doesn't really have much inspiration or motivation because they think everything's pointless. You can tell that pretty soon after meeting a person. You can tell, usually within a 5-minute conversation, what kind of person you're talking to. And other people can tell that about you. So if you go and meet someone, they can tell after a 5-minute conversation with you if you're kind of a high vibrational, positive, gracious and optimistic person, or if you're someone who is going to usually look for the bad things and project a lot of negativity. They can tell that when they meet you. And as people, as much as there's the whole hustle culture, lone wolf, I don't need anyone but myself, like, you are all you need, I don't need other people, I don't rely on anyone, as much as there is that mindset, we are made as pack animals. We are made to form connections with people and relationships, and that might be to different extents with some people. Some people, I personally like to hang out with people very regularly. I love quality time. Other people prefer to spend time alone, but ultimately everyone needs some sort of human connection. Without that, we become incredibly lonely. And the way that we tend to form relationships with other people is by finding people who are like us. We find people who are like-minded, who have similar sorts of thoughts and beliefs and opinions and kind of personalities. And we're drawn to those people because they're like us. We like to see ourselves reflected in other people. So when you see someone who has a similar sort of energy to you, you're more drawn to them than somebody who has the exact opposite energy. You have nothing in common. Your outlooks on life and perspectives are completely different. You're much less likely to hang out with that person than you are to the person who has the same sort of mindset as you and agrees on like a lot of your opinions and perspectives. So bear with me, I'm getting to the point. This is where I believe that gratitude becomes extremely important. Because we are drawn to people who have similar energies and perspectives and outlooks, if you're someone who gives a lot of gratitude, is very positive, you look forward to the future and all of that, you're more likely to find friends who also give a lot of gratitude, are very happy individuals, perhaps are like more confident and look forward to their future. Those are the people who you resonate with, you relate to, and so are ultimately more likely to form friendships with. I feel like we all have experiences with a group of friends who are just negative. Whether you were in that group or you've seen them like in school or in a workplace, they're kind of people who just are very judgmental, who will just watch other people who are having a good time and just be like, oh, that's so embarrassing. Typically the kind of people who just jokingly say they want to unalive themselves quite a lot, that kind of group. I feel like we all have experience with knowing people who are like that. And as you can see, they all group together because they all have the same sort of mindset. It is very rare to see someone who is so positive and optimistic and grateful for everything in that kind of group, which again just highlights the point that we are drawn to people who are like us. So being grateful and positive and having that kind of energy means that you will have connections with people who are also like that, which is much less of an energy drain than being surrounded by people who are judging everything, who don't really want to put themselves out there, who are scared of being judged and that kind of thing, which is another reason that I think that gratitude is essential for happiness. And finally, I honestly think that helping other people does make us happier. I'm not saying that you have to like go and open your home to every stranger or give away everything you own to other people, but just little acts of kindness like complimenting somebody or help giving someone a hand when they clearly need it, or moving your bag over so that a stranger can have a seat on a bus, stuff like that, I think does make us feel good. Like I said, because we are pack animals, we want to form connections and relationships. You do have a relationship with every single person you meet. It's going to be different types of relationships. Like, you're not going to have a romantic relationship or a deep friendship with somebody who just sat next to you on the bus, but you do have a relationship because there's somebody who you have connected with, even if just for half a second, to allow them to sit down or to stop them from sitting down. Either way, you're making some sort of relationship. To our final little study of today, Woodetell in 2010 found that people who are thanked are presumably more likely to extend help to others in the future, which basically means that gratitude has a sort of domino effect. If I was to go out and do a favor for somebody and they were to be like, thank you so much, that really helped me, I really appreciate that you went out of your way, you did that for me, I'm so much more likely to go and do that in the future and to help more people out with little things. Similarly, that person is much more likely to remember how I made them feel with my act of kindness and then go and do something for another person. So it has a domino effect. So it does impact how society ultimately runs. If we are in a society that's more grateful, ultimately I think people are happier. So those are just my thoughts and words on A, what gratitude is, B, why I think that it's important, and C, why I genuinely do believe it is an essential thing for happiness. I think you can be happy without like necessarily practicing gratitude, but I think you're always going to be subconsciously feeling it, because even just appreciation for a moment, like if you feel happy and you think to yourself like, I really appreciate this moment, that is giving gratitude, whether you're aware of it and it's a conscious thought or just something that comes into your head. So I do think that gratitude is an essential thing for happiness. And now I want to just share with you 6 ways that you can practice gratitude and become a more grateful and happier person. I have my little list written down here. So number 1 is gratitude journaling. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do this. I personally do this. I try to do it every night. I have a notebook at the end of my bed that it's not any kind of journal, it is only dedicated to gratitude. And the way that I do it is I just write the date and then write down a little list of things that made me happy that day. So it can be like big things or little things. It can be like, I went out for a really nice meal today, or it can be like, a lady smiled at me in the park. Like, it can be completely different levels of things, and I just write down everything that I remember from that day. I try and just think through my day in like chronological order and write down everything that I was grateful for. You could also write it as a paragraph if you're more into kind of storytelling and that sort of journaling. Just write down a whole paragraph about every single thing you noticed that day. I personally prefer lists because by the time I'm going to bed, I don't want to write that much. I just want to get it down, do my little practice, and then go to bed. On to method number 2. This is something that I only did for the first time at the end of January, but I really, really loved it, and I need to do it for February. But gratitude boards. So we've all heard about vision boards, and gratitude boards are essentially like this. They are montages or collages. The difference is, instead of focusing on the future, on our future desires, wants, dream life, dream self, all of that, instead of focusing on that, it's looking back and focusing your energy on things that have already happened, things that you're grateful for, people you're grateful for. Instead of highlighting everything that you want or desire, it's highlighting everything that you already have, everything you've already experienced, achieved, all of that, and just focusing your energy on that and taking a moment to really show appreciation for it. Acknowledge what you've already been given rather than what you do not currently have. I've just noticed that I actually wrote gratitude boards on my list twice, so I actually only have 5 methods, so sorry about that. So our third practice is having a phone list. And this is a good one if you're somebody who you don't really like writing things down like physically, you don't want to carry a notebook around, you're more of a digital person, and you also, if you're not really as into creative stuff, this is just the most simplistic way that you could possibly go about giving regular gratitude, aside from just saying things in your head, which actually that's a method. Saying things in your head, just like acknowledging as you're going around, just when you see something or experience something or feel something that makes you just feel like, oh, that's a nice little thing, just take a moment, give gratitude for it. Just think to yourself like, I'm grateful I got to see that. Like, sometimes leaves falling like a really pretty way and you're just like, I'm so grateful that I was stood in this spot to get to see those leaves. Like, if I'd been like 5 minutes down the road, I would have never experienced that. So giving gratitude mentally, out loud if you want to. That's probably the most simplistic. But the second most simplistic is having a phone list. It's so easy to set up. Literally just go into your notes app, type in gratitude list, write the date, and then as you see stuff, just write them down. It doesn't have to be a paragraph, it doesn't have to be an essay. Just write it down and be like, I had a really good cup of coffee. And then when the day ends, just write tomorrow's date and then do it all again tomorrow. And just over time, you're just going to build up a really, really nice list of everything you've seen. And you probably are going to have forgotten them by the next day, but that's the beauty of it, because you can go back and like watch over it again and be reminded of everything that you are grateful for and happy about. Now, these things kind of imply that you've built the habit of showing gratitude. So if this is something that is completely alien to you, it's not something you ever do, and you just kind of need more reminders, something you want to do but you have no practice in it, then making a little like board of different gratitude quotes, but setting something like that as your wallpaper, or pretending you're in like a little coming of age film, like put some post-it notes or just writing on your mirror that just reminds you, like when you're getting ready for the morning, you're brushing your teeth and it just says something like, I'm grateful for today. And just see that, let it subconsciously like keep repeating in your mind and dig itself into your brain, and it will start becoming a habit. And the final thing, I've left this till last because this is something that I don't actually do, but I think I'd actually like to try doing this maybe once a week, is writing someone a gratitude letter. So you could write this to somebody else, you could write it to a family member, a friend, a partner, or you could write it to your future self. There's websites like Future Me where you can write yourself an email, or you could even like write a letter, go to the post office and post it to yourself. Like that is an option. Like imagine how good you would feel if you received a letter from somebody who you loved and cared about that was just like, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for all of these things you've done in my life. I'm so grateful for you, especially when you do these things. You mean a lot to me. Like how good would you feel if somebody took the time and wrote you a letter like that? Like that would be adorable. And your day would be made. And then the domino effect, you're probably going to go on and do something nice to somebody else, and then society becomes happier. Like, if we all wrote gratitude letters, the world would probably be a better place. Just saying. But yeah, that is my discussion on why I think that gratitude is important and essential for happiness, and some little tips on how you can become a more grateful and happier person. I've not done, like, a proper video like this before. To be fair, I've only uploaded, like, I've got less than 10 videos uploaded. I don't even know how many I have. I think I have like 5 or something. I don't have a whole lot of videos up. But I actually really enjoyed just talking about this. I enjoyed like researching it and then about the little studies, and I've enjoyed it. It's been a good chat. So I hope that you have a wonderful, fabulous, grateful day, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.